This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. That's the traditional version of the Lord's Prayer. Here's the Roman Catholic version. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. There are many among us who say words such as those, but don't mean them. There are people who are politicians who will do anything to increase their pleasures. They say these words in church and at services. They say, but they don't act or behave that way. They commit evil deeds. For example, exactly who was it who said, let's take some connective tissue and grind it up with the meat we sell and sell it to our best customers? They'll never find out. We'll treat it with ammonia to kill the bacteria, and everyone will be okay. And we'll profit another 15%. Just who said that? And what kind of evil is in that person? And who approved it for sale at the highest levels of corporate America? And how does it end up in lunches, school lunches for school children? How does that happen? What kind of a person would do that? Class, you know you are over the target when you are taking flack. And we at USAPrepares.com are taking flack. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Here we go. And your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're broadcasting live for now, 3 times a day. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. From high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountain Studio A. We've got some information on the website, and you may listen live, USAPrepares.com, USAPrepares.com. Dave's producing the worldwide broadcast right here on Genesis Communications Network, the world's largest and world's leader in alternative radio broadcasting. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli, and there's a link to all of your instructors on the website, USAPrepares.com. Podcasts right here are free. We're posting some up-to-the-minute articles on the website, news articles. I think they're the ones that you really need to read. So if you want to read those most important articles to us as Americans, as freedom-loving Americans who just want to be left alone, USAPrepares.com. David Klotz is with us today, and he's a Missouri resident. We're going to talk about Walmart. And Dave was on just recently with me on a Friday, and we talked about Walmart for an hour, and as a result of that broadcast, we decided to talk for 2 hours on Genesis Communications Network. We were on KWTO AM 560, Springfield, Missouri, also known as the powerhouse of the Midwest, also known as keep watching the Ozarks, KWTO. It's got a signal that hits 5 states, 6 states on a clear day. It's the powerhouse in the Ozark, AM 560. It's low on the dial. It travels really far. It's built in 1933. We talked about Walmart. Welcome, Dave Klotz.
Well, thank you, Vince. Hope you're doing well this morning.
I was until you called me before the broadcast.
I understand.
Dave, we'll take this however far you want to take it. I don't know what to do.
I know.
I have never, Dave, seriously, I have never been stunned as I have been this morning after your call. And if you want to let, at some point during the 2-hour broadcast, if you want to let people know, and
well, I'll just leave it at this, Vince. Whenever you stand up, try to be a man in this world and confront those powers that are devouring your hometown, that are destroying the livelihoods of people you care about, exporting the investment local businesses need, your local economy requires for its growth. When you stand up in this world, you will pay the price. Your Lord's Prayer hit me right in the heart because that's exactly what I needed to hear today. I have a little bit of animosity in me, and I don't want that to eat me up. I understand the risks involved. I've paid a lot. I've paid the price over and over and over, and this is just another time for me to buck up and be a man about it.
And what you're talking about is you paid the second highest price a person can pay. The ultimate price being death, that hasn't happened. But the second highest price...
Well, no, I didn't lose the love in my life. They can't take the love away in my life. To me, that's far more valuable. This just cost me a job, so...
But, Dave, it was a direct result of you being on the air with me.
Well, there was very little other excuses they could use. So, I would like to think no, because I don't want you to feel at all responsible. It was my decision to do what I've done, and I understand the ramifications of it. The tentacles, Walmart's tentacles reach a long way, and it's not the first time I've had to pay a price for trying to speak out. Try to speak the truth, power. Try to educate people about the economic consequences of Walmart business model on their communities. It's just, as you said, you were over the target when you're catching flack, and so be it.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll go as deep, as far, as wide as you'd like. We've got 1 hour, 45 minutes of this broadcast to go. Dave, you are a person who, and correct me at any time if I'm incorrect, but my understanding is you're a person who has spent 20 years or so with Walmart. You have been trained by Walmart. You've been nurtured by Walmart. You've been formed into what they wanted you to be. And during that process, you saw Walmart from the inside. Is that correct?
That is correct. And yes, they did try to mold me at a certain point in time. Your outside pressures conflict with your internal belief system. That's what happened with me. Walmart kind of got to a point to where, one point in time, I was actually recruited out of high school by Sam Walton, and at that point in time, it was a Buy American company that you could really be proud of. Sam used to say things like, if we don't support the manufacturers and the towns our stores do business, who's going to be left to shop at our stores when the jobs are gone? Used to say things like, our success is a direct product of the efforts of our people, therefore they deserve a share of the profits. Profit sharing came along, did really well for a lot of folks who didn't have access to higher income opportunities due to lack of education, perhaps lack of ability, maybe in some areas to be able to climb that. And so at Walmart, 30 years ago was a different company than Walmart is today. I unfortunately was there during the transition from a company you could be proud of into something you can no longer recognize and support anymore. And at one point, it just finally got to the point that my internal belief system was stood up to the pressure and just said, no, I can't take it anymore.
Dave, when I lived in Virginia during the 1990s, I lived in a small community of 500 people, and the big town of 20,000 was about 20 to 22 miles away. And there were farm supply stores that were locally owned. You could go to a farm equipment dealership. There were gas stations. There were service stations. There were lots of small businesses that operated for generations. And all of a sudden, this Walmart was coming in, and people said, Walmart's going to destroy our community and so forth. And Walmart came back with, no, we're going to create a lot of jobs. We're going to hire hundreds of people. This is really going to be an economic boon for the area. And what I saw was Walmart built a small store. It was not a super center at that time. They built a small store, and that small store had prices that were way lower than everybody else's. And the business, it was a magnet. It pulled people from shopping other places right into Walmart. And then Walmart, I won't say abandoned that building, but they built another building down the road, closer to town, a supercenter. And that was kind of a relatively new concept where you had food and all the stuff that Walmart would sell, the dry goods and the hard goods and so forth. And that brought in Lowe's, the home improvement center. And then, that was it. That was it for the small business. There were two places. You could get everything you needed at Lowe's for your home or Walmart. That's all you needed. And it just destroyed the small business.
And people don't realize the ramifications of that, because you have companies, outside corporations who are not local, that export the investment required by local businesses who have commitments to their local communities that you don't see from these corporate players. And, so they just displace the investment required by small businesses to grow their businesses, to create jobs, to grow incomes in the community.
Dave, hold that thought.
And drive down wages.
We'll be right back. Dave, hold that thought. We'll be right back. Oh, man. We've done it this time. David Klotz is with us, and we're both in Missouri. And, David, we're talking about Walmart. What does Walmart do to a community? What have you seen with your own eyes?
Well, we've got 2 hours, so let's just, if you don't mind, let's just take this from the very beginning. I'd kind of like to inform people as to why I have the attitude that I do toward the company and why it is I try so hard to get the message out. As I said, I was recruited out of high school by Sam Walton. I had the opportunity to get to know quite a few executives within the general office during the late 80s, at a point in time when the company was a totally different company. It was the executives were approachable. It was more or less a family-oriented company. And, you could toss ideas back and forth to the executives. You could get some communication back from them. It was a completely different thing. And so I had the opportunity to go to Bentonville, Arkansas, their general headquarters, several times. And this was when I was in my late teens, early 20s, to pitch ideas that I had to help the company, as I seen it, to the executive vice president. One of those ideas, this was at a point in time when the supercenters were on the drawing board, and Walmart touted their Buy American plan. But we've seen more and more import merchandise come in, which would be made in Taiwan. You peel the labels, you'd see made in China on it. And this was before Bill Clinton normalized trade with China. So And, American retailers didn't carry Soviet-made merchandise. You can't buy Cuban cigars. At one point in time, it was against the ethics of the American people to support the enemies of liberty in the world. In other words, we felt like it was immoral to capitalize off the exploitation of subjugated populations such as the Chinese. But it was a huge opportunity to make vast profits. And so, whereas American retailers typically dealt with 20 to 30% markups on American-made merchandise, this imported merchandise were triple-digit markups. So the profits were just huge, and so I wanted to I wanted to see if we couldn't find a way to cement Walmart's commitment to its Buy American plan in the floor plans of the new supercenters. This was just when the supercenter was on the drawing board, and I wanted to put an American-made department between hard lines and the grocery department in the supercenters to promote our American-made merchandise and cement Walmart's commitment to Buy American within the floor plans of the store. And as I was pitching this idea to the executive vice president, he shot me down pretty hard, and I really couldn't understand it. And I was kind of the general office feeling pretty dejected, and just happened to run into Sam Walton, who had a couple of people with him. Now, you tell me if I'm getting too long here, because I kind of want to.
No, you're doing fine.
Okay. And so I just happened to run into Sam Walton, who had two people with him, and this was a man and a woman, both I would guess in their mid-30s. As I said, I was maybe 19 or 20 at the time, And so Sam, if he ever met you, he knew you. He seen me, he recognized me. He said, "Well, Dave, what are you doing here?" He knew I was from Salem, Missouri at the time. And I said, "Well, sir, I was presenting some ideas to your EVP. I don't think I did a very good job. He wasn't very receptive." And Sam, who was just like a grandfatherly figure, said, "Well, that's all right. Let's try again." And so he takes me back to this little cubicle, which is all the general office was at the time, a combination of cubicles, a very modest kind of thing. And it was a cubicle not far from his office, which was a very modest office, too. And set me down and said, "I'll be right back." And he left the room, and the two people that were with him come in and sat down across the table from me. And this blonde lady, I would just guess maybe a minute or 2 minutes after sitting down there, she kind of looks over her glasses at me. And, I got to tell you, she was a pretty attractive woman. I didn't feel anything amiss at the time. Kind of looks over her glasses at me. "So who are you and what are you doing here?" And so I didn't really know who these folks were, but I did know they had been with Sam. And so I thought, well, here's an opportunity maybe to pitch my ideas to people who might be able to have some influence within the company. And so I kind of went into the American Showcase, is what I called it, the American-made department. Got about halfway through it to where she understood what I was trying to do, and she actually got up on her feet, leaned over the table into my face, said, "Who are you to tell me how to spend my money? Why should I waste my money supporting your high-minded ideas? You need to grow up and get lost." Well, the woman was so cold and so confrontational, so completely disinterested and callous about the interest of working families, about investment in local economies, because that's what I was trying to drive for, that it stunned me. I mean, the woman actually terrified me.
Hey,
I was
Dave,
19 years old.
Hold that thought. When we come back on the other side of this break, let's find out who that woman was. I'd like to know. Dave Klotz, we're talking about Walmart from the inside, a 2-hour expose, USAprepares.com. Well, class, I just want to let you know I am absolutely stunned. This morning, before the broadcast, I got a call from David Klotz, and he let me know that he paid the price, and he didn't tell me, but he wanted to make sure that I knew before the broadcast that he had been fired from another company because of his interview with me on KWTO AM 560, Springfield, Missouri. I guess, David, we have a huge reach. So huge. We hit 97 counties in Missouri and 5 or 6 states, in the fringe range of AM 560. I think the reach is so big that Walmart does not want you to say another word.
No, they don't.
So you paid the price, and we're going to do this for 2 hours. So, David, you were saying that you were in Bentonville, Arkansas, at corporate headquarters of Walmart in the in the early days of your career there, and you were trying to get the message across about buying American. And I remember the Buy American plan. When I was in Virginia, they had these signs hanging from the ceiling saying that we've created these jobs, and these 6 or 7 people are manufacturing light bulbs right here in the United States of America. It's great. We've created these 6 jobs, as if it was really important, while they've exported, hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of jobs to communist China. So who was this woman that you met in this meeting in the corporate headquarters, this blonde woman in Walmart?
Well, I'll tell you, that was probably a day I wish I had never actually went to the headquarters, because I didn't realize at the time who I was speaking to. About a month and a half later, after she got up and stormed off and left me sitting there kind of stuttering to myself, I picked up the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, seen her picture on the front page. It was the First Lady of Arkansas, Hillary Clinton. I met her in her capacity as a Walmart board member. She was given the only lifetime board seat, and I believe this was 1985, if my memory serves me right, that has ever been given to anyone. It was given to her at a time when she had no business experience to speak of, didn't have any real stock holding, but she did have something going for her that nobody else had. She was the wife of the governor, Bill Clinton, and Sam Walton always said, Bill will be president. And so that kind of got me watching these two people. They really weren't on my radar up to that point. Kind of got me watching Bill Clinton, and as I observed the events that followed, I seen him run for governor in 1990. The last time he ran for governor, the big thing at that time was right to work in Arkansas. Sam was in favor of right to work. The Democratic Party, who Bill represented, was opposed to it, because labor was opposed to it. Bill campaigned against right to work. As soon as he was elected, he flipped and signed it in, codified it in the Arkansas Constitution. Since then, the Arkansas working families, their incomes have been flat. They were promised all kinds of, the golden goose was really going to fly over them and bomb them with golden eggs. That's not been the outcome, really, regardless of your political leanings of it. Nobody can make the case that it benefited the working families of Arkansas, but it sure did benefit those companies who wanted to keep labor at bay. And so. After I watched that, then I seen Clinton run for president. He was about to get beat. Went down to Bentonville, loaded up his coffers full of last-minute campaign cash, squeaked out that election. The next thing you know, then he's normalizing trade with communist China, signing NAFTA, GATT, WTO. And the end result then is now 30 years later. About 30 years later, we export $8 billion to communist China and import $344 billion from them. So, it's so discouraging, because politics on both sides of the aisle have been completely purchased to the interests of those who have no concern for local communities, local economies, working families, even the future of this nation. They are prepared to finance the enemies of liberty in the world to the point of equipping communist China now with the second world's largest military, the world's largest in number, rather than invest in local communities by supporting American manufacturers. To me, it's treason. It always has been, and it's been fostered by both political parties who are just corrupt and useless to the interests of people.
Tell us what you really mean.
Well, I think I bet.
Dave, you mentioned I was writing down these notes. $8 billion is exported to China. How much are we importing from China?
$344 billion.
$344 billion. Now, David, I have been saying, and I want everybody to know, the things that I say on the radio are the things that come out of my mouth are my beliefs. That no one tells me what to say. I believe what I say to be true, and I say what I believe to be true. Now, I have been calling Walmart the Chinese factory outlet because such a great percentage of what I perceive that they sell comes from China. Do you have a feel for what percentage by volume of sales is from China?
I love to do this for people because I'm pretty good at it. If you drop $1 on a Walmart counter, Walmart payroll is 5 to 7%, dictated to the stores by the general office. That means a nickel to 5 cent, a nickel to 7 cents of every dollar dropped on the counter is going to recirculate through the local economy in payroll. Well, half their inventory is import, mostly made in China, which accounts for 15 to 20 cents of every dollar. So you're talking about a company that exports $2 to $3 to communist China for every dollar it recirculates through the local economy, and this has gone on now for decades. So the economic displacement by this point in time has created an economic environment where local businesses literally cannot survive because they don't have the access to the slave-made junk that Walmart does. If they're going to take care of their people, it's going to come off their bottom line. So Walmart's created, it's really the Walmart economy. They've created an economic environment where either you undermine your people, you undermine America's workers, you export investment required by the communities, or you go out of business. And it's so savage. It's like Darwinian, only we're kind of traveling down the evolutionary ladder economically,
Dave, on our farm, we have, in our farmhouse, we have a rotary brand lift. And a rotary lift is one of those things that puts a car or a truck up in the air. So we own one, and it's right in our farmhouse, in our garage, in our farmhouse. And last night, our son was working on our Dodge Cummins turbo diesel 3/4 ton pickup truck. And he asked me to just make sure that he was replacing a front bearing, and this is a hub and bearing assembly, and it came from China. This is his 4th or 5th one under warranty that he has replaced, and it came from a big box auto store, and this is his 4th or 5th one, and they keep wearing out in 20 to 25,000 miles. And I looked at, as I was torquing this 175 foot-pound nut on his axle with him, I felt the disc rotor, the front rotor, and they looked brand new. And I said, how many miles have these rotors been on? Because the wear on them was unbelievable. They said about 20,000 miles. Here's the point. The point is the original disc rotors that came with that truck, the Dodge brand, lasted probably 150 200,000 miles. He replaced them with these Chinese rotors that come from the big box store, and that's what they sell, Chinese rotors and Chinese hubs and Chinese bearings. Well, 20,000 miles, they are shot, absolutely shot, because the steel is so inferior in these disc rotors. What I'm saying is,
quality of merchandise across the board. This stuff is just made for the landfill. It's not made to serve the customer. It's made to take people's money, go to the landfill so people can go back and drop more money for another disposable piece of junk like the last one they bought.
What I'm doing, Dave, is you said Chinese junk. I am seconding that by telling you that I know for a fact that these hubs that he has been replacing time after time after time come from China, because I have helped him put everyone on, and it's like never ending. And the disc rotors, which should be lasting 200,000 miles easily, are wearing out in 20,000.
By design.
Yes. Now, here's where I was going with this question, and I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I said it's the Chinese factory outlet. That's what I call Walmart. Now, did they take over and help destroy the electronics industry, the retail and electronics? We'll call it consumer electronics market. I'm talking about cameras. I'm talking about small handheld electronics, telephone sets, TVs, radios, computers. Were they a big part of making that shift from United States manufacturing over to China?
Oh, sure, and it went a lot further than the American electronics industry. I can remember, it was open, it was public knowledge. Walmart would directly assert pressure on thousands of U.S. manufacturers, telling them either you match the prices that we can obtain this inferior junk next to your product from the communist Chinese. Either you match the prices that we can get it for in China, or we're going to buy from them. And that left American manufacturers in a position to where they had to make a choice. Do Do you remain with your commitment to your communities, to your employees, to the quality of your merchandise, or do you do what your primary supplier, your primary avenue to the customer is requiring you to do and relocate your factory to communist China? And, then the international organizations were created principally under the Clinton administration. I understand they were on the drawing board under Bush 1, so, it goes across political lines. But to allow and finance, actually, where the U.S. taxpayers paid for the relocation of the American factories to communist China. And, an interesting thing, anytime an American company builds a factory in China, there are two duplicate factories, one directly owned by the communist Chinese, and then another which is half owned by the Chinese government and half owned by the American company who built it, as I understand it. So you've got dual production capabilities where half of it is directly owned by the communist Chinese, which means that our patents aren't safe, our products aren't safe, and we've seen this play out over the years.
Hold that thought. David Klotz, Vin Finelli, USAPrepares.com, an expose on Walmart. We'll be right back. One of our faculty at USAPrepares.com, one of your instructors, is an expert in electronics, and he's an expert witness in litigation, as well as a designer of electronics. And he was shown 2 electronics products. I'm not going to tell you exactly what kind of products they were. And they were from China, both of them from China. Now, one of them was a legitimate product, and the other one was a knockoff. And he was asked to determine what the differences were between the knockoff and the legitimate product from China. And he looked at them, and he looked at them, and he looked at them, and he couldn't find a difference. Now, he was asked, there has to be a difference, because one of them is knocked off. One of them is a counterfeit. And he looked at him and looked at him and took them apart and looked at him with magnification and could not find a difference. What I'm doing is I am seconding exactly what David Klotz just said. And here's what happened. David talked about the redundant factories in China. Well, that's not what happened in this particular case. In this case, what happened is it was an American company that owned the product, and it was being manufactured in China. Now, while the Americans are on shift during the normal 8 to 5 shift, the American products were being made at this factory. When the American management went home during the night, the same factory was making the counterfeits during the night shift.
Wow.
I'm seconding what you said, David, because obviously our initial thought pattern would be that they would be, clever, and they would set up a redundant factory and buy redundant machinery and redundant tooling and redundant dies to make, the counterfeits in another location where you couldn't find it. No, they are so brazen, they're making it in the same factory.
Yeah, and you talk about brazen. Now they just bought America's largest pork producer. This is the wave of the future. I've been trying to warn people for years. I actually believe that is the end game for Walmart. They would not have destroyed the economy of the United States to finance the communist regime in China if they weren't going to finish what they started. I believe, and I believe this because I was told this in confidence by a senior VP at Walmart years ago, that Walmart, the company, will ultimately sell out to communist China. So what these city councils are doing, like in Springfield, Missouri, where they're trying to roll over and give Walmart the economy, is they're actually ceding the future of their local economy directly to the communist Chinese. It's just a sin against their own people.
David, I haven't said this before on Genesis Communications Network, but I think it's okay if I say it. I have nothing to lose. I've been broadcasting. I got my start in Springfield, Missouri, on a radio station called KADI, 1 hour per week, following Dave Ramsey on a Wednesday. And I did that because I needed to promote the expo, and I was given a 1 hour a week radio show that turned into a 1 hour, 5 times a week radio show on KWTO. My last day is next Tuesday. And I have found, well, here's what, Dave, let me tell you what I found. I have found that Springfield is not hospitable to Vincent Finelli. I cannot have an expo there. They do things to really, really make it difficult for me. And so I've had to take the expo to Lebanon, who loves us. But the point is, when you go up against these people, when you go up against the city councils and you expose them for adding poison to the water, and you talk about 30% tax rates for conventions in Springfield, you talk about these things, you name their names, they come after you, and they've done it to me, and they fired you, and I think they're going to fire me. So, and I'm not making this up, class. So, when we come back, we're going to talk about the details of inside Walmart. Please share this with all your friends and family. And can you out there make this popular on YouTube? Everyone needs to know this. This is Vin Finelli, USA Prepares. David Klotz. We'll be right back. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Here we go. This is hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Very, very serious broadcast today. Expose, part 2 of Inside Walmart. David Klotz is with us. Class, I have a request for you. This needs to go viral. This broadcast needs to go viral, and I need your help. Can you get this on the internet? Can you take this broadcast? You have my permission to take this broadcast and put it on YouTube, on Hulu, and any other site you can think of. Rebroadcast it, please. The consequences of this broadcast, David Klotz and I were on the air, and we haven't even talked about how we met, but he was in Springfield, and he wanted to make sure the community was aware that yet another Walmart was coming to town. Zoning had been stamped by City Council in Springfield to allow a church property to become another neighborhood Walmart market, and he was able to work with some others to get the necessary signatures to bring it before a vote to see if the community wanted to change the ordinance. The zoning. And the repercussions are unbelievable. He went on the air with me, and he got fired, not from Walmart, but from another company, because he was on the radio with me. David Klotz, welcome back. Why don't we talk about what happened in Springfield and how that's just an unbelievable story. These are street fighting tactics. They are. David, you literally were fired hours after the broadcast, and you.
The next day.
Would you do me a favor? Would you before you were hired by this other company, tell everyone what you told me. They were concerned about you. What was their concern before they hired you?
Well, they wanted to know that I wasn't going to do to them what I had done to Walmart, which I thought was kind of comical, as they're not even on the same scale. It's really unfortunate when you try to really stand up and speak the truth today. The powers that be are so incestually related. I don't really know a better way to put it. They're so intermingled, so intertwined, that they've got each other's backs. I kind of want to digress just a second, because your news was very topical. They just said on the top of the hour news, Walmart's just buying back $15 billion of their stock. The Walton Trust has 53% ownership. Why would you do that unless you were going to sell a big chunk to somebody and try to maintain a minority share. You're never going to find the letter on Walmart letterhead that says, we're going to sell this company to Communist China. But these are the best indications that you can get when they've already got 53% ownership and they're going to commit $15 billion more to buy stock. There's a reason that they are increasing their ownership stake in the company. I believe it is only because they are going to sell that company to Communist China and want to maintain a large minority share. So I didn't mean to digress, but your news is so topical that, you don't really find evidence of this other than to watch their actions. But to your question, we had people in Springfield who actually were against the wall. This neighborhood market is coming in 4 blocks from downtown. Well, downtown was decimated by the free trade policies that exported everything, like every downtown was, and has been really making a brilliant resurgence over the last few years. Local businesses are really coming back. People are really proud of it. There's a lot of activity. It's really vibrant, and folks just love it. And so when this Walmart store was threatening to come in 4 blocks from downtown realized the threat of it. And so, neighborhood associations, local businesses, the community itself organized to try to stop it. We couldn't persuade city council. There were members sitting on council who should have recused because of their direct conflicts of interest, relationships to Walmart. One of them used to draw plans for Walmart supercenters. The other advertised on the city's website about how they were part of the Walmart Scholarship Committee, which are just status appointments meant to curry the favor of politicians. And so, those folks refused to recuse. They hammered down on Walmart's favor. We couldn't do anything else except go to the petition process. We were able to get the petition certified, and then this church sues the city. Mind you, they get the former Chief Justice of the Missouri Supreme Court, one of the most expensive lawyers in the state. This church has been pleading poverty the whole time. They've got a broken window and a piece of tin hanging off the roof, and they're too poor to even maintain their property to city code. Yet they can afford the most expensive lawyer in the city to file a lawsuit against all of the council members in the city, all the council members by name plus the city, because they claimed they were going to lose the election. The funny thing is, a week earlier, the pastor of this church in the press said, we're excited this is going to the vote for the city, that people need to be able to speak about this, which is what we've been saying. This is the people's future. This is the future of the city. We need to have this debate openly, let the people decide. And the very next week, the church sues the city to stop the public vote. And so that's where we are now. It's in court. This lawyer kicks it to his law school buddy. They went to law school together, graduated a year apart. University of Missouri, a Vernon County judge who serves a restraining order on the city clerk in Springfield and Greene County to stop the public vote. It's just disgusting. But now it's going to be a fight in the courts where we don't really have any hope. We don't feel like winning, but we don't really have any choice but continue the fight.
Dave, before the broadcast this morning, I called a man I really respect. I work very closely with him, and we talked about this, and he lives in Springfield. And he feels that that zoning has changed all the time. And he and I agree on a lot, but this is one issue that we disagree on. I believe that people move into neighborhoods, move businesses into specific locations because they look around and they go, okay, I see what I've got. I think I can participate. I think I can grow with this area. I hope it grows and we grow and everybody grows together and it's successful for all of us. But then all of a sudden a game changer like Walmart could come in and upset everything. And frankly, I've had this discussion with other instructors, other members of our faculty here at the farmhouse, and we have these impromptu discussions, and people just show up at our farmhouse who are part of our faculty, and we talk about the issues. And I said, well, what would happen if a Walmart were built a couple blocks from your house in your subdivision in Springfield? And frankly, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it because they know it will change the complexion of everything in their community. They don't want it. They want things to be the way they were when they bought into that. That's the problem.
And the really discouraging thing is that we have local companies with a commitment to downtown who are actually carrying businesses at a loss in order to stimulate the downtown recovery. These are local businesses who have a commitment to the future of the city. And now they are going to be undermined by the one company, the world's richest company, who's paid some of the city's lowest wages for decades, exported more money than all their competition combined out of the local economy, that can never be used by the city's entrepreneurs to finance their dreams, for innovation, by the small businesses to create jobs and bolster incomes. And they see downtown. I mean, we don't know that we can stop it. We were primed for a public debate, followed by a very healthy, robust debate that needed to happen, followed by a public vote. We feel like this is going to be stolen from us now through legal means, despite all the people's best efforts. And so that those who have the commitment to downtown, who really demonstrated that they get it, that they share in the downtown dream for downtown's recovery, their investment's going to be made a fool's bet now by the process, which is going to let Walmart just steamroll the city with its own agenda to dominate the economy and export the investment local businesses need. It's tragic.
Dave, as you look at pricing, I remember Walmart had a sign outside the entrances that said "Satisfaction always." I don't see that sign anymore. I remember that. Well, I remember it was there. I remember Walmart saying, "If you find a lower price, we'll match it." And they don't want to do that anymore. What happened? They don't need to, right?
Yeah.
They've already decimated the competition.
That's it. And that's what's going to happen. I mean, and everybody who really had any, was logical about it at all understood that from the beginning. Once they have decimated local business, once they've created an environment local business can't compete, then naturally they're going to raise their prices because they have no commitment to anything but their own profit. And so there is no case that can be made that the Walmart business model is beneficial to communities, yet time and again we see the interests of people undermined by their own city governments to roll over for Walmart. It just happened in the Kansas City metro area where Walmart just won 2 fights there that the people were really organized, really motivated. Walmart bought the process just like they're threatening to do in Springfield. And so it's pretty discouraging when you perform a civic duty or a civic engagement at as high a level as we did, as high a professional level. We really controlled our conduct so that we couldn't be pigeonholed as radicals one way or another. Our interest was about the future of the city. We worked across political lines and achieved something that was really very rarely done. This our petition certified in Springfield, as I understand it, was the second in the last 20 years to actually succeed. And now the city attorney will not even defend our petition. We're going to have to raise our own money to get our own legal counsel in the game, or this will be nailed down in Walmart's favor, but in the back room like it always has been. So it's discouraging to put forward your best efforts and just see the rug jerked out from underneath you by the old boys club that's owned outright by these folks,
David, they are pulling out all the stops. This is such a big fight. It's all about money. You've heard it over and over and over again, class. It is all about money. Walmart has pulled out all the stops. They're coming to Springfield in a big way. Springfield, Missouri. David Klotz is with us. Please get this on YouTube everywhere you can. We'll be right back. Class, there were 10 people who were in a lifeboat, and they were able to make it to shore, to an island. And when they got to the island, they're from different nationalities. And they talked about, okay, we got a big problem. There's 10 of us here. We have no idea where we are. Right now it's daylight, so some of them decided to go foraging for food. And some went hunting, and some started building a shelter, and some looked for water, and some looked for plants. And they all gathered back just as it started to get dark at the same place that they landed, and they started talking about what they found and what they did. So they went around and each person spoke on where where he found what, where she found what, and what the plan was. So the food gatherers, and they got to the point where it was the Americans' turn to speak. And the others had talked about the gathering of the food, the finding of the water, the building of the shelter, the gathering of the firewood, starting the fire, all of that. And we get to the American, and the American says, hey, I'm a consumer. Now, that's the problem. That is the problem. And you've heard in the news that the consumers are going to save the economy. Well, you know that's absolute nonsense. A consumer is a four-letter word. We need producers. We need jobs here. You can't flip each other's hamburgers. You can't clean each other's houses, wash each other's cars, and vacuum each other's businesses for a living and survive. No country can survive doing that. We need jobs here. And what you've heard is we have, through a retail business, exported our jobs, our future, our livelihood to China. And we've done it with the blessings of our politicians. They've done it. They have taxed us into oblivion while giving advantages to these large, big box superstores. We're doomed. Class, I would like you to, I'm really serious. I really need your help. I cannot do this alone. David cannot do this alone. We need you to get this on YouTube. Get this on Hulu and any of the other various media sources where people can hear this broadcast. Would you please do that? Would you contact me at Vincent at usaprepares.com. Vincent at usaprepares.com. You can download this podcast for free at Genesis Communications Network. You can just go to usaprepares.com, click on Listen to Vincent, GCN. It'll take you right to where you can download it. You can download it. You have my permission to spread this out all over the world. Now, we are broadcasting this broadcast on KYAH in Utah. We're broadcasting this broadcast in Knoxville, Tennessee. This broadcast is going live, delayed broadcast at KUNQ, 30,000 watt station in Missouri. It's going out over Galaxy 19 all over North America to millions of homes on Galaxy 19 satellite radio. And of course, live streaming on the internet and broadcasting with the reach, the worldwide reach of Genesis Communications Network. This message is important. And I really am asking you to do me a favor and get this on YouTube. I can't do it all. I would like this to go viral because the message about our country and the lack of manufacturing and the shipping of our industries over to China is going to spell the end for the United States of America. I really believe that. Dave, family-owned businesses, and I'm thinking about Virginia, and I'm thinking about here in Missouri. Family-owned businesses are going away. They cannot compete. And they say, hey, we can't compete with Walmart. We can't compete with Walmart. They cannot compete with Walmart. But when I wanted to buy a tire for my hay rake because I was desperate because the rain was coming and I had the hay down, I couldn't get an intelligent person at Walmart to tell me if he had a tire in my size or not. We have lost the ability. David Klotz, Vin Finelli, usaprepares.com. David, whatever you want to say, you've got the mic when we come back. David Klotz is with us. We're talking about inside Walmart. David, you've got the microphone. Whatever you'd like to say.
Well, I just want to say what you had to say at the close of the last break was just brilliant. I mean, I've said it before, the Bill Clinton service economy, how's that treating your family? The news reports on your network at the top of the last hour said that the wealth levels reported back to the pre-recession levels. I just love how they say that. With gains in stock prices that have benefited the affluent households. you don't see recovery for working families. And that's exactly what we're talking about. This economy today just concentrates the wealth in the hands of those who have it at the expense of those who don't. And the further we go down this road, the poorer the people are going to get. And at some point, we are going, and I think we're going to see this unfold rapidly. We're going to become a third world country. We've already slid so far down the scale. I don't know that there's any way to come back at this point rather than a collapse and to try to rebuild the country from the ground up again. Problem with that is that the communist Chinese now have all our wealth, and the military to boot. So, where this ultimately plays out, Walmart's economic impact on the United States has created a national security threat, the likes of which we've never seen. People have paid for it with their own money by carrying their dollars down, trading it for that Chinese junk at the expense of the factories that used to produce this stuff in their own towns, at the expense of their own incomes, the expense of their children's futures. I don't like to be down. I'm actually a very upbeat guy. I'm optimistic and I like to have fun. These interviews kind of sound, kind of a drag a little bit because the subject matter is but there's a lot to be really optimistic about. Our efforts in Springfield achieved a lot of results. We've documented our results, and we're trying to provide material for folks who want to do the same thing that we did in Springfield. If you're interested in what we've done, we've started a website, www.downtownspringfieldmo.com, .net, www.downtownspringfieldmo.net. It will give you a great outline as to how our fight has unfolded in Springfield, what we've been able to do that has been so effective, and what the opposition's tactics are. And, I want to give a shout-out to the Change Walmart folks down in Bentonville. The Benton County judge just served a restraining order on them. They're not allowed to protest hardly anywhere around there. But, folks have shown up all over the country. There's a lot of pressure on Walmart now, but they are buckled down, and they are surrounded by their legal establishment that they have financed on both sides of the political aisle to protect themselves. And so, they're hunkered in, but the people are really trying to influence this company and change it back to a direction that can reinvest in local economies versus displace the investment needed so sorely. So there is good news, but it's a big fight.
David, I'm looking at, in my mind, I'm looking at trends. I go to Ziggy's on Mondays where we have our meetup, and years ago I used to see road construction. They'd be tearing up the road, and people would be annoyed. They go, geez, I can't believe it. They're tearing up the road. They're building this. They're impeding traffic, but it was progress, okay? We don't have progress anymore. There's not much road construction. There's certainly not much road repair. Our bridges are falling down. Our infrastructure is collapsing. Our power grid is old. Crime is way up. These are not signs of an economy that's booming. They're not signs of an economy that's stable. They are all signs of a country in decline.
Symptoms of, that's correct. And to me, it's driven here by intent. You can't look at this and claim that they had, that the folks involved in creating a legal framework to export the investment our local communities have needed over the past few decades, you cannot claim that they ever did that for anyone's best interest other than their own maximized profits. And, the end result is hardship across the board for millions upon millions of families in this country who don't have access to the employment that they need to support their families like they should. So, yes, crime explodes when there's no jobs, and no initiative. I mean, initiative is penalized these days, Innovation, it's all but dead here in America because our entrepreneurs have no access to the investment that they so sorely require to finance their dreams. And, that's what this country was all about. And the Walmart economy has made the American dream a minimum wage job as opposed to owning your own business because you can't compete with the monoliths and the mega giants that are decimating your local economy. So, it's just, we're in a really tragic situation with this country, and if we don't address it and we don't do something about it now, our children are going to pay the price.
I agree. David, you had mentioned the profit margins of U.S.-made products compared to Walmart products. Can you give us a feel for if something costs when you were at Walmart, if something cost Walmart $1 to buy it, what would they sell that for if it were a U.S.-made product?
Typically, back in the day when we could obtain American-made merchandise, you've seen 20 to 30% markups on that American-made merchandise. When we started seeing the import merchandise that replaced the domestic produced inventories hit the stores, there were triple-digit increases. So, it's not like Walmart didn't have a reason to do it. They went from a 20 to 30% markup on the merchandise that was produced in our towns, at our factories, which supported jobs and created the great middle class that is now all eroded. And they then undermined all of that for their own profit. So, you're talking about a lot of money, and it's really translated to trillions of dollars over the past 2 decades that have been displaced by the purchasing policies of this company that then rolls downhill and creates an environment that other companies have to follow in order to compete. So it's not, people say, well, you go after Walmart too much. It's kind of like being attacked by a grizzly bear and wanting to blame the cubs. If you're getting eaten by a grizzly, go after the grizzly. That's kind of the best analogy that I can come up with. Don't worry about the cubs. If we kill the grizzly bear, the cubs are going to come running home. So, this is about the world's largest company, the chief financier of communist China, the chief exporter of the investment that our communities need from our communities. This is, and so it's a different game than talking about, price cutters here in Springfield, 50-store grocery chains, or local mom-and-pop stores, folks who have commitments to their communities. It's just a different player altogether. And when city governments won't make that distinction, despite all the evidence that's in front of them, it really is discouraging and it's counterproductive on so many levels.
Dave, when I really don't like going into Walmart, and it's kind of anybody who happens to see me in one who knows who I am can probably spot me quickly because I go in. Mrs. Finelli has to pick up a few things, and I really just don't like going into Walmart. And I ask things out loud, like I'll go up to, I'll walk up to the meat and I'll say, Mrs. Finelli, do you think do you think this meat has pink slime in it? Oh, hold on. Let me ask that man. He's in the white coat. Do you have pink slime in this chopped meat? And everybody's embarrassed, right? When I do that kind of stuff, and then the person will say, "Well, no, I don't think so. Let me check." They'll come out of that little back room and they'll go, "Yes, it has pink slime in it." It's not, Dave. They don't say to me, "What are you talking about? What the heck is pink slime?" They don't do that. They don't do that. They know what pink slime is. They know it's connective tissue of animals that's used as a filler to extend meat. They know that. They know it's treated with ammonia because it's laden with bacteria. They know that. Now, when Walmart still sells meat, as of the last time I checked, with pink slime in it, why are they doing that? They could stop it tomorrow. They could stop it. This story broke 6 months ago.
Right, yeah, at the expense of local butchers, at the expense of organic food stores, at the expense of the family farmer, and for what? What are we getting for this other than poison? I just want to tell you, Vince, on behalf of my stand-up group in Springfield, man, we respect you so much and we appreciate you. We absolutely love what you're doing about fluoride. We agree wholeheartedly, and all of your other issues so far as health is concerned. That's where our heart is, too. We really want to see our economies invested in. We want to see our communities defended, the health of our people, the livelihoods of our people. And so you're a natural ally. God bless you. We love you, and we do not want to see you go off of KWTO. we're doing what we can. We're emailing the station, but it is discouraging. You don't want to say whenever there are just a few people who have the courage to stand up to these kind of things that just get rolled over by the establishment. We don't want to see it happen to you, and we just want to encourage you because we think the world of you, love you for what you're doing, and believe you're performing God's work and absolutely a patriotic service to the United States.
Dave, over the last several broadcasts on KWTO in the afternoon, I decided that I've heard things that I don't like. I've heard people say things that are just wrong, bad information on many levels, on many stations, and I decided that people need to ask anyone who's in broadcasting, whether it be radio or TV, anyone who's broadcasting, who are you? Why do you say what you say? What makes you think that? What makes you say that? And what are your motives? Okay. Now, I open every broadcast with everyone all set, cocked, locked. Okay, and right now I'm sitting in my studio in Missouri with a .45 on my side. Okay, and I explained why for the first time several days ago, and that's because we went head to head against two very large organizations: a dump, a landfill company, and a private prison in Virginia. Shots were fired at our house. Our daughter came from her bedroom screaming, "They're shooting at us." We called the police, 911. 20 minutes later, they showed up. That's why I carry a gun. David Klotz, the price is high. We'll be right back. You know, I get a chance to talk with our producer sometimes during the breaks, and certainly at the beginning of every broadcast. Dave is our producer today, and Dave is an essential component of what we do here at usaprepares.com. He said to me, just seconds before we came back, just seconds ago, he said, "Vincent, this is your best broadcast. Riveting information, your best broadcast." And I want to thank David Klotz. And I also want to tell you that on TalkStreamLive.com, we are number 20. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're number 17 out of about 100 broadcasts on TalkStream Live. And they have a trending topics section. The first trending topic is us. The second trending topic is us. The third trending topic is us. We have the top 3 out of 4 trending topics. This topic right here on TalkStreamLive.com. People are paying attention. Please get this on YouTube. You have my permission. Dave Klotz got fired because he was on the air with me about a week ago. And he was fired from another company because of what he said about Walmart. These big box stores hang together. They hang together. And they are not our friends. They're not our friends. They changed the rules. Meet up on Monday. Dr. Norman Shealy is going to be with us. He's going to be talking about our health. We've got to stay healthy, class, because if we're not healthy, the pharmaca mafia is going to run us over. And so is the medical system. That's Monday, 5:30 Ziggy's. John Dollarhite's going to be talking about security, computer security. He's a computer expert. We are being tracked. Roy Birdsong's going to be with us Monday night at the meetup. Cell phones, they're tracking us, and he wants to teach us how to minimize our footprint. So Dr. Shealy, John Dollarhite, Roy Birdsong, we're going to be talking about your health, computer security, cell phone security, Monday. Free meetup, as always, Ziggy's, 5:30, Springfield, Missouri. I'm trying to get information on the website. Dave, you've got the con. Go ahead. That's what they say when they turn over controls to the next person in charge. You've got the con for the remainder of the broadcast.
Well, I appreciate it, and you just blessed my heart to hear that we're trending so high. And the reason we are is because folks don't get to hear this. This is the truth everybody knows, but nobody gets to hear. On the bright side of this, we have seen so much progress in Springfield among the press, who has for years just told Walmart's version of the story and completely frozen out the reality of this economic conversation. And, we've seen a lot of help over the past 6 months young people in the press who are pushing their producers, pushing their editors, the gatekeepers to let this story expand. And as people have gotten involved, as the neighborhoods have stood up for themselves, we've had the opportunity for the first time ever over just the last few months to really speak the truth to power, really speak the truth to people that they already knew, that they're already just trying to live through. And so when folks see that there are people, who for all the right reasons, willing to step up and pay the price just to do what has to be done, it's encouraging, very encouraging to me to hear you say how high we were trending. And the reason is because people need this information. They've got no other place to get it. I want to make a challenge to folks. Nobody likes to be told what to do. We're coming up on the first week of July 4th. I want to challenge American Christians out there. Keep your money in your pocket. Don't carry your money down there. The communists in China still persecute the Christians in China. They still find their ways into labor camps. Don't go down there and exploit the persecution of your fellow Christians on the other side of the world by trading your money, your hard-earned money, for that slave-made junk. Boycott Walmart the first week of July. I know I don't have to tell patriots this, but, there's so much evidence out there that should compel everyone that this is a decision that they need to make, and they need to make now, to support their local businesses, to invest in their children's futures and their local economies. And we don't want to say boycott Walmart like we're telling you what to do. And we have provided so much evidence. If you go to our website, www.downtownspringfieldmo.net, there is so much evidence as to why this is a decision that you need to make now for your own families, your own children's best interest. And we would just implore you to do what is wise and to start taking the necessary steps to defend your family now.
Class, David isn't saying this because he got fired from Walmart. He said this before he got fired. And he got fired from his current job, not at Walmart, because he's speaking out against the big companies that are taking over America. Class, get this on YouTube. Please get this on YouTube. Send me an email, Vincent at usaprepares.com. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. Thank you so much, David.